Hey, what is up everybody? It's Colby Cheese playing on some Elise right as she was released here. And what I want to do here in this game is give you guys kind of a first-person perspective of me playing Elise. Now, I don't know if you've watched my guide on her yet or not, but I wanted to give you just a full game commentary of me playing her so that you can kind of get an idea of what I'm thinking as I'm playing in each particular situation. If I remember correctly, I did make several mistakes here in this game, so I should be able to give you guys some pointers on what to do as well as what not to do. Now, with Elise, let me go ahead early before anything starts here and talk about the runes and masteries that I'm running on her. I'm actually running kind of a defensive rune and mastery setup as well as AP. So I've got 15 AP quintessences, and then I've got armor yellows, magic resist blues, and magic pin for my marks. On your masteries, you'll want to set up a 21-9-0 mastery build, basically getting points on the mastery tree that give you increased armor since you'll be going to the top lane, as well as the increased health so that you can mostly win out on trades and just be a little bit tankier overall. So with Elise, what I found was after playing her for several games is that she's a little bit too squishy and her playstyle doesn't exactly favor going all out AP, even though all of her abilities do scale very heavily on AP. So what you want to do is try and build her more of a bruiser. What I found is that once you get a malady later in the game, she becomes extremely powerful because it synergizes so well with her different abilities. And then you can go ahead and afford to get defensive items and then later on build into O'Reilly's. So you'll see how that works out in this particular game here. So I'm going to be up against a Pantheon, and the thing against a Pantheon is any chance you get, you want to go ahead and break that shield of his so that if he does engage on you, you can do as much damage as possible. And with pretty much any champion that you're going to be facing against as Elise, you really want to try and be as aggressive as possible early game, as long as you're not receiving more poke than them. So you'll see what I do here is any chance I get, if I'm not going to miss CS, I'm going to go ahead and run up, auto attack this Pantheon, as well as try and hit him with a Q. Now the Q can run out of mana fairly fast, but the good thing is that you can always switch to the spider form and you still have damage in that mode as well. So I'm going to go ahead and continue poking him down and harassing as much as possible any chance I get and try and get him down to a nice kill level. I'm already at about half HP for him. He hasn't popped his health potions though, so that's mostly the reason that he is that way. He should be around full health after that much poke. But the main thing you want to do is try and force them to use up all of their health potions. He's actually making the mistake right now of not using those health potions, so that's a pretty big mistake on his part. He could potentially be ganked right now and go down very quickly. So that's a huge misstep on his part. So there he goes. He's already popping those health potions finally, and you'll see that I'm full health because I've actually already used one of mine against his very small amount of poke. Of course, Pantheon gets a little bit stronger as he gets higher level, and so it's not going to be as easy for me to handle that damage, but I'm taking advantage of the fact that that is the case. And right here, I actually make a huge mistake. I misjudged the amount of damage that I can do and flash in, stun him, and I'm just not able to clean up, but he stuns me in the turret range and he gets the first blood. So that's a really big mistake on my part. Let me go ahead and speed back up until I get into the lane once again. So I went ahead and picked up my Amp Tome here. I'm trying to grab that malady as fast as possible so I can go ahead and win out on trades against him. Now that he's already got that first blood, he's going to be really far ahead of me, and I'm going to have to be really careful. Now, in this particular game, I don't recall if I actually remember how much damage the Pantheon could do. Right there, I was like very surprised. I was like, holy crap, he just took me down below, pretty much almost killed me from 100 to 0 and in one burst there. So that's pretty much the power of Pantheon if he gets ahead. He's got those two Dorans, and then, I don't know, I made the mistake of sitting around in the turret. I thought I might be safe, but I knew I wasn't going to be safe, but I was just kind of mad, and I stayed there anyway. So pretty big mistake on my part so far. Already giving up first blood and then yet another kill to this Pantheon. And the thing about Elise is she's just not very strong early game. Once champions get their abilities until you get a Malady. So it's like she's fairly strong at around level 1. She can poke and poke and poke. And then once the enemy champion gets their abilities, for the most part, they're going to be stronger than you. And you just need to stay back and try and play it safe and use your stun if you get engaged on to avoid as much damage as possible. So what I'm going to do now is I have to really play this very safe, and I have to try and farm up as much as possible and not get zoned out by this Pantheon. And actually, this Pantheon is making a mistake of letting me farm right now. He's being a little bit passive with the lead that he has. He's level 6 right now, and he's got 2 Dorans, so he can be very aggressive against me right now. He can just run up, jump on my face, and burst me down, and then run back and continue farming without a lot of pressure. So I see him running, you know, anywhere near me. I'm just going to throw down that stun, and that's very critical that you hit that stun when you're in caster form if the enemy is coming at you, because that is a big part of it. Even though it doesn't do damage, you need to be able to have that stun to put out your Q and your W and then run back to safety. Now, I'm leveling up my Q first. Pretty much anytime you're laning, you're going to want to level up that Q first. It does a lot of damage, and it's a very low cooldown, especially considering the fact that you can always swap to Spider form and use the Q there as well. Against most lane opponents, I'll actually do a QW burst and then immediately switch to Spider and hit him with Q and Spider form as well. But against Pantheon, he's actually just way too dangerous for me to actually engage at all right now, or even switch to Spider form and attack, because of the fact that his cooldowns are low enough, and then he does so much burst with within his stun that I can't do much about it. And I actually just missed a stun, and that Pantheon really should have jumped on me. He could have killed me right there, but again, he's playing extremely passive, and he's not taking advantage of his lead. He could completely win this lane right now. I mean, just totally shut me down if he wanted, but he just decided, okay, I'm just going to farm freely and not really take advantage of my lead. So really big misstep on Pantheon's part here in this particular game. But I'm going to go ahead and speed it up a bit until some more action happens here. He's allowing me to farm back up. I'm not really ahead or anything on farm. You can see that he's got quite a bit of a lead on me, but he should have even more of a lead. So I'm just going to do what I can to get as many creeps as possible. I'll shoot out my Spider when I get a chance to, in order to, you know, get a little bit of CS here and there. I noticed that he's really not being aggressive at all, so I go ahead and throw down a couple of spells. I can auto attack him and he doesn't jump on me. Now we have Olaf coming up here, but he actually misses his axe, so we're not going to get any kind of gank. If he had hit that axe, then I might be able to put some burst on this Pantheon and get in there for a stun and combo him down. Nonetheless, I just continue farming up. I'm starting to catch back up a little bit here in the lane. He's still a level ahead of me, so I need to be a bit careful. Again, though, he does decide to not jump on me there, and that, you know, anytime he gets close, he should be jumping on me, to be perfectly honest, but he's just not taking advantage of that. So I'm going to go ahead and wait for it. There he goes. Finally, he stuns me, jumps on top of my face, but I go ahead and pop my E, and for some reason he flashes away, giving me a chance for my cooldowns to come back up, and I'm able to clean him back up. So this is the problem here, is that he waited too long to get aggressive on me, and now I was strong enough to finish him up. So one good thing to do is at the end of your burst, what you want to do is go ahead and do the leap, wait a little bit for it to come down, and then clean it up, because you're going to have your cooldowns back up. I stayed a little bit too long here. This was a mistake on my part. I should have looked mid and noticed that Elise was missing, so that was my fault for not paying attention. Anytime you get a kill like that in the top lane and you want to stick around and farm, before you do that, you need to look mid, and you need to try and pay attention to where their mid is at. And also think about, maybe if the jungler comes, will they be able to take you down very quickly? So that was just a little bit of greedy farming on my part. So let's just go ahead and speed back up. I've got my Malady. This is going to make me extremely strong. So at this point, now that I've got Malady, I'm going to be strong enough to finish up this Pantheon. You'll notice I actually get those small golems. Anytime you're in the purple side, you want to go ahead and grab those small golems on your way back, as long as you don't lose too much health, and you're not going to be losing like a giant wave of creeps. Since the Olaf was freezing the lane for me, that gave me the chance to go ahead and grab that and catch up just a little bit. So at this point, I'm down 3 deaths, but only 2 of them were to the Pantheon. And you'll notice that the Pantheon actually left the lane to gank another one, and there Elise thinks she's going to come up to gank me, but I was waiting in the bush. I had the wards to see her coming, and she literally does no damage to me. I do a full combo, and I'm just waiting for my cooldowns to come back up, and I knew she was going to jump eventually, so I go ahead and pop mine and wait for her to fall back down. And that's a free kill for me. So now I'm caught back up in the lane. Since Pantheon's not here, he actually died trying to gank another lane. This allows me even more time to free farm here, and I can just sit here up top, get down these creeps, and try and force Pantheon to lose as much farm as possible. So let's go ahead and speed it up just a bit until we see Pantheon get to lane. And he actually takes a really long time to get back. So he's going to start losing a lot of HP off of his tower. And there he goes. He's back in the lane. And I go ahead, and it's really easy to harass people when they're farming a large wave of creeps at their tower, especially if you're a ranged champion, of course. So that's exactly what I do. I don't really take him down really far there. He's pretty strong right now that he's got a brutalizer as well. So I do still need to be careful. But since I've got my Malady, I can go ahead and turn around the burst on him. As long as I don't get bursted down instantly, I can go ahead and turn that burst out. So if he does a jump on me, I need to actually do a full burst back on him and punish him for that. But in this particular case, I'm going to go ahead and go back. I've got 900 gold, and I know that I can actually become even stronger than him as soon as I buy a couple of items. So since I've got enough gold for it, I pick up my chain vest right away instead of going for the ninja tabby. A lot of times I might go for a ninja tabby or even a merc treads here in this particular situation in this lane, but I decide that I'm going to go for that chain vest, and that'll help me completely shut down this Pantheon's damage for the most part, because it's just a really, really strong way to lane against someone who's full physical damage such as Pantheon. And so I'm going to go ahead and easily farm here at the turret in the meantime and wait. And sorry, by the way, sorry about this attempted reconnecting. There must be a bug with the newest LoL replay in this patch. I noticed Pantheon was out here. I'm going to go ahead and run down here, place down a ward as this one's about to wear off. And I don't want to get ganked by Elise again or by the Skarner. So I'm going to go ahead and try and make this as safe as I possibly can for myself. Looks like the Pantheon and I are quite similar in level here, and I know any chance I notice he's not behind his creeps, I'm going to try and get off that stun, because that allows for a really nice burst combo. You know, normally if I was really confident, I would actually go ahead after that stun and swap to spider form and do a little bit of extra burst on him. But I noticed, or not noticed, but I know that he's a little bit strong if he jumps back on me burst, so I want to poke him down once or twice before I do the full engage on top of him. Now since Pantheon was roaming down for a gank, I decided to try my best to kind of chase this out as much as I can, and this doesn't look like a good engage for me, but I'm going to go ahead and do as much damage as possible. And it actually worked out really well. I was able to clean up that Skarner extremely fast. He was squishier than I thought he was going to be, so it worked out. Now Pantheon does get a kill onto the Blitzcrank eventually, but it doesn't make a big difference because I'm actually able to grab a double kill here. Now I'm feeling really confident, so I try and land a stun onto the enemy Elise. I figured she would be right in that area, but I missed that, so I decided not to go ahead and go back in for the engage. And since Twitch is here, I just flash right over the wall. Luckily, I have that flash available still, and he's only level 7, so he wasn't able to clean me up with a full burst. And I can just go ahead and head back to base, pick up a couple of items, and be good to go. You'll see I pick up my ninja tabby. I could have probably bought the rest of the the item there, but I went ahead and went for the ninja tabby because I wanted that move speed as well. So now at this particular situation, you can see that the Pantheon's going to be going for a full burst. I go ahead and go in on him. I know that I'm strong enough with all my armor that he really can't take me down. So you'll see after I use my W and jump in, I'm able to do a ton of damage to him with my spiders and my auto attacks, since that Malady synergizes so well. And as he runs away, I just use my spider form leap to jump right onto the top of him and take him down. Very simple. At this point, there's nothing that Pantheon can do to me. I'm extremely strong. I've got 5 kills this game, especially after those 2 down there after roaming. And that's always a good thing. If you are not going to lose like a giant wave of creeps and you can roam down and chase your lane, if you know that they're going to go into a fight, sometimes you can really pick up a lot more kills than you would normally know that is going to happen, because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if your team's going to kind of fall up with you. Obviously, sometimes you have to be careful not to put yourself in a bad situation, but in this particular case, it gave me those 2 kills. It was totally worth it. And now that Pantheon's dead, I have a chance to go ahead and force him to lose even more farm by shoving this down as much as possible. And I want to clean up this tower, as soon as I can. The best thing to do in games is to clean up towers as early as you possibly can. This is actually kind of late for the most part. Now, Pantheon's jumping in here, and I decided to go ahead and clean up the turret. I feel like I'm going to die here, so I go ahead and do a stun burst on him and try and get away as much as I can. Now, go into the bush, and this is my plan. I see the creeps coming, and I do my spider leap to the enemy creeps, and this allows me to get just in the range, and he's kind of creep blocked by his own creeps there, as I'm able to run away, and there's nothing he can do to catch me. I see that Elise is coming, but I know that I can kind of run away here. Now, this is probably where I should keep running. I'm not sure if Elise is going to catch me, so I stay at the turret, and I actually make the decision. I think that Olaf's going to be strong enough to catch this Pantheon, but Pantheon doesn't actually get baited, and I put myself in a bad situation, get shut down, and Olaf decides to, instead of running away, stay in there and give the double kill to the Elise. So we both make bad decisions there, and, you know, I would have easily gotten away. However, unfortunately, I do make the giant mistake of staying around, and I could have probably just, you know, went to the turret and got away, and, you know, maybe stunned the Elise if he jumped on me. There's a lot of options there, but for the most part, I just didn't play that one correctly, and neither did the Olaf. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and speed this back up until I get back. You'll see that the Pantheon's easily able to take out the turret while we're gone. Now that I'm back, I can clean up all of these creeps here. One way to farm as you get a little bit higher level, you know, especially at level 13, is run into the middle of the creeps, use your AoE spider ability, and then turn into your spider form to clean up the rest of them. They'll all be at low health at that point, and your spiders will, you know, attack them once or twice to clean them up, so you can farm really fast once you hit that level. And you'll see, instead of finishing up the Frozen Heart, I decided to go ahead and go for my Rylai's Crystal Scepter. And this is something I've decided that I like doing on Elise, because right here you have the cooldown reduction from this, and you have the armor, which is the main thing, but you want to go ahead and get that extra AP and start getting some health in order to become really strong as, you know, kind of an AP champion. Sometimes if there's just a lot of heavy armor and you really need to go ahead and finish up that Frozen Heart, then it's smart to go ahead and do that. But against the Pantheon, he's not an auto attack champion, so I can go ahead and afford to skip that Frozen Heart. And in this particular case, I get a really nice stun off into the enemy Elise, and I'm able to jump to her. I'm not sure if I can finish this off. I'm actually hoping to get my stun cooled off down in time, but I wasn't able to, and it looks like she's able to get her own leap off to escape, and that's unfortunate for us. Nonetheless, though, I stick around and clean up the rest of this turret rather than trying to dive behind 3 of them. As for me personally, I know that turrets are generally the most important thing in the game. Now, if you look at the score, bottom and mid are really not doing so well. They're feeding quite a lot. And so I'm really the only one that's actually doing extremely well with my 5 kills. But even then, I've still got 4 deaths as well. So we're in a situation where we really need to be careful and not get caught too much in bad positions. Luckily, though, we are at least even on turrets. They don't have, you know, a giant global gold lead on us. I'm not sure how many dragons they've been getting because I honestly haven't been paying attention to that. I've had a lot of, you know, action up in the top lane. So I kind of hang out in this area to see if somebody puts themselves in a bad position, and then I'm like, okay, never mind. I'm just going to go back. I'm a little bit low on health, and I don't know where the rest of the enemy team is. And I'm able to buy a little bit of extra itemization here with, you know, wards and health potions. I know that there's nothing else I can actually buy that, you know, I can't complete any more parts of the blasting one that makes sense, and I decided that I wanted to go ahead and pick up that sight ward and health potion first. And rather than buying the amp tome, I wanted to try and wait for the health, because the health is a big part of that Rylai, so I wanted to get that first and save that extra slot for the sight ward. Sight wards are always a big deal. You want to try and always have a sight ward that you can place down whenever you come back from the base, as long as you have that slot for it and it doesn't force you to not finish up a critical item in the game. So at this particular situation, I'm looking for opportunities around the map, and, you know, mostly just going to shove down lanes and farm if possible, but I do see that a lot of our team is down on the bottom, so I place down a ward. The enemy Elise does see me, but I'm not really worried about it. I'm going to continue roaming down here and look for a chance to pick up kills. I do check the red buff here, and I think that I can grab it, so I'm going to try and pull it into a safe part of the bush here and then take it down. I see that Elise is coming, and she sees that the creeps are chasing me, so I'm going to try and pull the red to right here in this particular situation, but I pulled it too far and caused it to reset, so that was kind of a mistake on my part, and I'm like, screw it, I'm going to go down bottom and try and pick up some kills. I don't know where this Elise is at. I figured she would be running around this side here, and I see that they're all low, and I can pick up a kill if I land something. Unfortunately, I don't land my stun, so I screwed that up really bad. It's not a huge deal, though. I'm able to jump there and kill the Elise who jumps in, and I can clean up this Taric as well, so I get the double kill on that one. I'm probably going to go down here, but we are able to get 3 kills in that particular situation. Unfortunately, they don't finish up the Twitch there, though. So that kind of, you know, and they're all low health. They really need to jump out right here. There's no reason for them to stick around, as the rest of the team can probably clean this up very soon if they're not careful. And looks like Twitch just went stealth. He's going to look for a kill if they're not careful. Oddwong is actually in a bad situation getting attacked by the turret. So that was just, you know, they just really played that bad. They should have all either went in or they should have all left together. Luckily, the Blitzcrank grabs a nice fist onto that Twitch. Does enough damage to actually kill him. So that was kind of hilarious. But at the same time, it's kind of not worth it. You see the Pantheon got yet another kill, and Olaf's going to be in a bad situation there. Now that I'm back up, I'm able to pick up the health and the amp tome, so I'm very close to finishing up my Rylays. I just need 700 gold for that, so I'm going to go right now and farm. And my god, that attempting to reconnect is quite annoying, isn't it? I do apologize once again for that. Again, I didn't record this live. I'm recording this from LOL Replay, which is a little buggy right now in the current patch. So anyways, back to the game. I see a big wave. I'm like, hell yeah. Try and run in the middle of it here, but obviously I'm like clicking and auto-attacking. So there we go. I cleaned up a few of those. I turned into spider form. We'll clean that up, and that'll give me probably just almost enough enough gold to finish up my Rylays. And unfortunately, Ellie's just picks up Olaf there, who was a little bit low health. He was running all the way from bottom, and he got almost back to base, but Ellis was able to clean him up, unfortunately. They stayed in all too long, and all three of them eventually ended up dying rather than all three of them getting away. So I have enough for my Rylays right now, but I'm going to go ahead and hang around. I don't exactly need to go back and get it right now. I want to make sure that we don't engage into a bad situation, and possibly if someone gets in a bad spot, we can try and catch them. Blitz doesn't land a grab there. I was hoping that he did because I could have followed up with my stun, and then we could have potentially killed him. On the other hand, though, I still have my ward here. It hasn't worn out just yet, so I'm going to go ahead and go for this dragon. Looks like they are all having the same thought, so I'm going to go ahead and put myself up in the air, try and land on this Taric. He already went down, so it wasn't really a kill for me. I flash out, slow down, put myself in a bad situation. Unfortunately, I don't know why. I stayed around way too long. I should have kept running, and I could have easily gotten away from that fight there, but instead they flash, stun me, and take me down very quickly, and they're able to pick up that dragon there. So now at this point, I'm able to finish up my Rylays, and this is going to be a good situation for me as soon as I come back up. So let's go ahead and speed this up until I get back from being dead. And I'm going to run as fast as possible, trying to get to this mid lane and see if there's any action happening. And right now, we're pretty much in this team fight situation. We haven't had any Baron fights yet, but we really need wards on that. Unfortunately, I didn't get wards. I'm not sure. I must have forgotten, but that's actually a bad misstep on my part. I should have grabbed wards when I was in the base and place those down at the Baron, because we really need those Baron wards. And there's not really anyone over there right now that has them. Luckily, the Olaf does have oracles. He's checking for those wards. It's a little bit dangerous to be running into those bushes alone like that, but luckily you can't see them on the bottom, so it's not extremely terrible. It's not like all five of them are going to be waiting in the bush there. And so I'm just kind of hanging around, waiting for us to group up and get wards and stuff like that, so that we can try and put some pressure on an enemy team by either forcing a Baron fight or catching them out of position in some situation. And you'll see me just kind of waiting around and looking for people to catch. I really screwed up my stun there, but I'm able to do quite a bit of burst. That's going to force Taric to either go back or just be really low in the next engagement and not be able to contribute much to that fight. Now, I put myself kind of in a bad situation. I get caught here. I'm like, screw it, I'm not going to get away, so I'm going to see if I can do at least a little bit of damage. Now, luckily, they kind of split up there, and I could have kind of gotten away, but I got pulled in by Skarner and get taken down. And our team's really just too split. Olaf's like all the way up in their jungle doing whatever, who knows what. And we could have actually won that fight most likely if we were still grouped up, but everyone just kind of split up, and I ended up getting taken down for that. Olaf being a little bit risky here. He's trying to run in for kills. He's being way too greedy, especially with an Oracles on his head. And at this point, he really needs to run away. There's no reason for him to be in the enemy jungle there. So overall, he's just played this bad. And once again, he gets baited. He could have still ran away at that point, but he decided that he wanted to lose his Oracles because he doesn't like the eyeball above his head. And he went ahead and gave them a free kill because he's actually working for the enemy team. He's a spy. So now I'm just going to wait for myself to respawn here and get back into the team. Hopefully we can get some teamwork going on here and win this game. But we're down by almost 10 kills in this situation here, and we really need to make some good plays. or else we're going to, you know, get snowballed on very soon. Now, I almost have my Frozen Heart built up. I'm trying to get that. You see, I get the 2 more cloth armors, and I'm pretty tanky at this point. I have almost 200 armor, and once I finish up that Frozen Heart, I definitely will. And that's going to help out a lot against most of their, you know, auto attack. They have auto attack, Skarner, Twitch. Pantheon's not really an auto attack champion, but he will sit there and auto attack now into the late game. That's, you know, that's the only way he can do any more damage after late game. You really start to have to rely less on your burst, more on just, you know, attacking people down and being bruiser. I'm gonna see if I can land a nice stun onto this Taric. Unfortunately, he gets right out of range, but this Pantheon, I don't know what he's doing. He must have either been lagging or not paying attention to the fact that he ran back to the lane. I've done that sometimes, where I'll click into the middle lane and then I'll be like looking around, or I'll be typing, or just doing something like that. And so, yeah, it's kind of really terrible for their team. That actually was a big, huge mistake, because at this particular point in the game, that gives us a chance to either force a Baron or just pick up their entire jungle or clean up someone else. Now, you'll see I actually caught their enemy Elise with a stun, and Goosey was able to help clean up that kill with all of his burst. We're able to get a nice grab onto the Taric, so nice job by the Blitzcrank. And all of this happened because that Pantheon actually, you know, did his little trolley run into the middle thing. So we were able to pick up 3 kills out of all of that. And another grab onto the Skarner. Nice job from the Blitzcrank. He did miss a few early game. Unfortunately, they flashed over the wall. I tried to use my E to get vision over the wall, but I wasn't actually close enough to it, so I kind of screwed that up a little bit. No problem, though. We're able to attack down this turret a little bit here. Now, they should be coming back very soon. We need to look at the timers here. Pantheon, Twitch, and Skarner all up, so they're very dangerous, and we're kind of low here. Luckily, I'm able to switch into Spider Form. One really good thing about Elise is that she's actually able to do a lot of damage to those turrets in her Spider Form. You just switch there, get that attack speed. I mean, it's like, what, 140%, I believe. And so it's really dangerous. And looks like the Pantheon almost gets taken down again. Another nice grab. This Blitz is doing a good job of these grabs, you know, here in the mid and late game area. I'm able to get enough gold. I tell my team right now, we need to heal and go to Baron right now, because they are staying in the enemy jungle way too long. We're a little bit low health, and the enemy team is all up right now. So if they just rushed Baron right now, they could either bait that out and kill us all, especially that they're still ahead at this point, or they might even just get Baron right out, you know, completely. Unfortunately for the enemy team, you know, luckily for us, they're actually kind of stupid, and they don't make that decision to go for Baron, which they could have easily gotten if they had gone like right away. Way too late now, of course. But that gives us a chance to get back in there and possibly ward up that Baron and even take it for ourselves. So right now, I have finished up my Frozen Heart, and I've got a couple of wards to go. I'm going to go ahead and pick up this red buff so that I can even do way more burst. I would actually like Corki to get it, but he's not really paying attention. So I'm going to grab that for now. And, you know, it's pretty good. It's pretty good right now in my hands, since my W gives me so much attack. Yeah, there it is. 140% attack speed. You know, even the active is 25%, so Elise has just so much damage potential. And again, that's why I use Malady, because it synergizes so well, that passive amount. That was an extremely nice grab by Hawkins, and what I did was I followed up with my stun to finish that up, and a nice auto attack by the Odd One cleans it up, even though she tries to spider herself away to escape. And now we're going to be in a 5v4 situation. I'm going to try and catch them and do as much damage as possible and see what kind of catching I can do. I see that the Skarner here is not really with his team, so even if he ults me in this situation, he's not really going to be able to take me down. He doesn't even do that. And I go ahead and clean that up. Unfortunately, our team kind of splits up, and they clean us up quite nicely. The Odd One is playing AP Nidalee, and he makes the mistake of jumping in 1v3, and that's not really the way you want to play against a team. Whenever you're AP Nidalee, you want to kite around and try and throw out spears, not jump into the middle of them right away. You want to use your cat form to clean up fights, not to engage on them like that. On the other hand, I could have easily gotten away from that fight, but I wanted to kill that Twitch and pick up his killing spree bonus. So that's what I did. I went ahead and picked up that kill. We may actually lose this mid turret. Yeah, I think we actually lose this mid turret because it's already half health and none of us are up. But I'm able to pick up another chain vest. I'm actually going to be going for Zhonya's at this point. So if the game actually does go long enough and you get enough kills and farm that you can afford it, if you can get a Zhonya's after all of these other items, you're going to be extremely annoying. And it's going to be very hard for the enemy team to kill you, since you've got your Spider Leap, which is kind of its own Zhonya's, and then you've got a Zhonya's on top of that. As long as you remember to use that in the right situation, etc. And that gives you a lot of time to allow your cooldowns to refresh and you know, redo all of your burst that you have available to you. So I'm gonna go ahead and speed this back up and see if we can get into the next fight. We're actually doing fairly decent considering the fact that they're ahead on kills. We've been shoving in quite far, you know, in comparison to them. But here we go, another fight happens, another grab from the Blitzcrank, pulls her over the wall, and then I'm able to follow up with a stun, and we're gonna clean her up right here. There's not much she can do as she goes down to me with my auto attack and Q. And I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can grab the Skarner. I'm not really fast enough, I'm all the way around the corner, so I can go ahead and keep chasing him down, but I'm not gonna kill. In fact, I don't wanna continue chasing him this way. So I'm going to go ahead and run around the other side and try and group with my team because I know the Skarner is going to come around there and try and pick up a kill here. They're all actually grouped there, and I'm not in position just yet, so this could be a little bit dangerous, unfortunately, for the enemy team. They don't get a good gauge just yet, and a nice cleanse from the Corki using his Quicksilver is able to nullify out Skarner's ultimate, and that was actually really nice for us. That pretty much gave us the ability to win this fight. We probably would have just lost that fight right there if Corki had died. We still have to back off, but we can kind of poke down and bait them down. If they keep chasing us, we have a better poke team than them with all these spears, my spiders, Corki's rockets. Unfortunately, Corki made the dumb decision. I was like, what are you doing, man? I was trying to do the ping back signal for him to escape. And then I go in to try and like save him, and that puts me in a bad situation. Now I'm able to use my spiders to jump behind the enemy team to kind of try and escape. I'm gonna bait them. I see that the Pantheon's jumping, so I know he's going to try and catch me in another situation. So I just run the opposite direction. They get completely confused on the direction that I'm going. This is going to give my team a chance to maybe come in here and do some work for us. And I see the Skarner's low enough so I can clean him up with a little bit of burst. I don't really care if I die in the situation. My Spider form is back up. Unfortunately, I clicked on top of the Twitch, and that caused me to drop down right away. I was trying to just click and save it and just drop down at the very last second, and that might have allowed me to survive, possibly. But overall, it looks like the Taric gets away. I know that the odd one can catch him because, you know, Nidalee's just fast. There's not much you can do to escape from that, and she's going to get a free kill there. Overall, that actually turned out quite nice for us with me being able to juke out. And that's the thing you need to keep in mind with Elise is that, you know, you don't always want to just drop back down or jump to them. And what an amazing pull by Blitzcrank. Actually saves the Oddwunk from getting a double team there and puts him in a bad situation. He's like, okay, screw it. I can't get away at this point. He has no flash. So he's just gonna, I guess, either he was DCing or he just decided to give up. He was like, screw it. All right, so we're in a really good spot right now. Even though we're still behind in kills, I think we've kind of caught up because we're really strong. And I'm extremely fed, so I'm able to do a lot of damage in these fights. I'm super bruiser mode. And we've already started on this Baron. I'm like, okay, these guys are going to pick up Baron, no problem. There's a giant wave of creep, so I want to shove this back so we can go ahead and start getting into their inhibitor turrets. So I clean up all of these creeps here. You'll see that I do have the Baron. We safely get away. They're not able to catch back up to us. I'm going to grab this red buff, head back to the base, finish up my Zhonya's now, and put it in the first slot. And make sure whenever you buy your active items, you put it in the slot that's easy for you to use. And for those of you that don't know it, you don't have to click Zhonya's. You can just push the #1 key, and that should activate your active item. Unless you change your hotkeys for some reason. So that's what I do is I place it in my 1, 2, or 3 slot, and I can easily push that on my hotkeys because it's close to my Q button, obviously. And looks like we almost get engaged on here. I'm able to place down a stun, and I do get stunned as well, but I'm far back enough that it's not, you know, it's not a huge thing. Skarner wasn't able to get in there to pull me in. And so right now we're in a situation where we just need to make sure we poke down properly. We have a really nice poke team, so we don't need a full engage right away unless someone, you know, gets caught in a bad situation. Blitzcrank is almost in range to grab this Elise. She flashes out, but still is gonna get, you know, caught here. Oh my god, what a nice juke there by her spider form, but still it's gonna put her down right on top of our team. We get an exhaust down, and they're gonna be able to clean her up, no problem. I try and go for this Taric. Not really even necessary since the Goosey guy here picks up the kill. And so far I haven't really done anything here. I'm just trying to catch people, but they keep dying. Our team is really far ahead at this point, so we're doing a really good job. I finally stunned the Twitch, and that allows us to get a triple kill onto the Corki. I'm going to leap here onto the Skarner and try and take him down as much as possible. We'll see if I can get the kill. As Fast Frosty goes in here, he gets ultied, but it's not really going to matter as he doesn't have any teamwork to follow up on that. And that puts us in a situation where we're going to win the game. There's not much that they can do at this point, and we're gonna just push down for the win. So we turned this game around really nicely. You know, we had some bad early game presence with the bottom and mid lane, but I was able to get fed enough to be an extremely powerful bruiser, and then our poke team comp just kind of won it out. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this full game commentary of Elise, and it was definitely really fun to play her and finally be strong enough to win the games after having some really unsuccessful jungle attempts. But anyways, if you haven't already seen it, go watch my full guide on Elise and check that out so that you can get, you know, some more insight on how to play her in different situations. But overall, this is Colby Cheese, guys. Please hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. I'll see you around for the next one. Peace out.